Dr. Sharkey's deposition just arrived. Special delivery from England.
This is good, Jess.
Yeah, but is it good enough? You know, we don't have much, and it's all circumstantial. The church, private school, we don't have one shred of real evidence.
She's always been clever enough to cover her tracks.
But if she doesn't slip, you're going to look awfully foolish.
I know the risk, but there's no other way. Lois Burke has fooled everyone. If we don't crack that facade, Doug and Jenny will never get custody of the baby. Yes?
Mr. Marshall, Matt Kendall on line 2.
Matt?
Thank you, Sergeant.
He's in here, Mr. Marshall.
Owen, I never attacked her. I never even got near her. All of a sudden, she went crazy like some kind of maniac.
Calm down, Matt. I believe you. I've seen her at work.
No, why? Why'd she do it?
The part she's playing, defenseless mother, scorned and persecuted by a rich and powerful family.
Then I really blew it, didn't I?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Doug? Doug, why don't we have a nightcap together?
No, thanks.
I think we should talk this out.
I don't want to talk, Dad. I might say something we both regret.
Doug, she was lying. She faked the entire thing.
What are you doing there in the first place? Trying to buy her off? Dad, is that the only way you know how to solve a problem? With your checkbook?
Now, wait a minute, Doug. I know I've got some things to learn. I was doing it for you and Jenny. Okay, I did it the wrong way. But I loved both of you. I wanted to help. Anyway, I'm sorry.
We've got time for a nightcap, I guess.
Better hurry up, young lady.
You have to leave in 10 minutes. We don't have much time either, Owen.
Morning.
Wrong. The news is all bad, and it's all on page 1. I don't know where they got that picture of Matt Kendall, but it makes him look like an axe murderer.
She's sure playing this for all it's worth. I'm glad we don't have a jury to face.
Still all uphill, Jess. At least we're being heard in closed session.
Why does that make any difference?
Because today I'm going to have to be very harsh with someone who desperately needs help. I think Lois Burke is a very sick woman. I may not be able to prove it, but whatever happens, it's not going to be pleasant for anyone.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you, Miss Burke.
Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Burke, do you understand the purpose of this hearing?
Perhaps more than you, Mr. Marshall. After all, my interest is personal.
What the court must decide is not what's best for my client or for you, but what's best for the child.
Of course.
Have you ever undergone psychiatric treatment?
No.
Ever been advised to?
Well, I've had a few people tell me that I should have my head examined. Is that what you mean, Mr. Marshall?
Yes, in a way. Shortly after you entered Berkeley, didn't one of your instructors suggest that you enter analysis? And Doug Kendall mentioned it to you too, didn't he?
Really, Mr. Marshall, if you're going to start requiring a sanity test for all would-be parents, pretty soon there won't be many of us left.
Just answer the question.
Your Honor, I must object to this line of questioning. We've already conceded that my client's past behavior was, well, often unconventional. But Mr. Marshall's clumsy attempts to show her as mentally unstable have no basis in fact.
Mr. Marshall, I've already made it clear I'll permit wide latitude in examination of witnesses. But please don't abuse that freedom.
Very well, Your Honor. Miss Burke, do you consider yourself capable of bringing up your son?
I have a small trust fund, and with support payments awarded by this court, I will be able to provide for him.
Provide what? Food, clothing, shelter?
Yes.
Have you ever discussed your son's future education with Douglas Kendall?
Doug and I haven't had much of a chance to discuss anything these days. There always seems to be a lawyer getting in the way.
Isn't it a fact, Miss Burke, that you haven't given any thought to raising your child because you haven't the slightest intention of keeping him?
I love my baby, and I love Doug Kendall. I've lost Doug. I won't lose my baby, too.
Do you really love either one of them? Or are you just using that baby as a weapon of revenge against Doug Kendall because he rejected you?
Your Honor.
And aren't you really just a bitter, vindictive woman seeking revenge as you have always sought revenge against those you felt had wronged you?
Your Honor, I object to this argumentative attack against my client.
Sustained. Mr. Marshall, confine yourself to proper questioning of this witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Have you ever known a man named Carl White?
The name is not familiar.
Did you attend the Chiltondale School for Girls when you were 17 years old?
Oh, yes, Mr. White, one of the teachers.
Isn't it true that Mr. White gave you a failing grade in English literature because you broke the honor code?
I don't have to cheat, Mr. Marshall.
Well, suppose you tell the court what happened.
I don't remember.
Well, isn't it true that a few days before exams, you took the final test from Mr. White's desk, that you answered the questions, and then circulated the answers among the other girls in the class? Can you tell us why you did that?
Carl White was a dull, stupid man. Oh, he thought he was so bright, so much better than the rest of us.
Oh? Do you remember writing a selection of poems dedicated to an older but unspecified lover?
I wrote a lot of things when I was younger.
But wasn't Carl White the subject of those poems, written before he disappointed you?
I don't remember anything about those poems.
All right. A month after you were expelled, didn't Carl White rush to Seattle after receiving a fake telegram telling him that his fiancée had been killed in an auto crash? A fake telegram, Miss Burke. A practical joke.
I don't know anything about that.
What job did you hold at the time of the incident? Specifically, July the 11th, 1965.
I don't remember.
On that date, were you employed as a part-time clerk at a telegraph office in downtown Los Angeles?
The thing is, Mr. Marshall, is that your bag of tricks is empty. You've got nothing except a bunch of wild stories and hearsay. A collection of could-be's and mights and maybes that don't add up to a hill of beans. You're making an awful lot of noise. I don't hear you proving anything.
All right, Miss Burke. Suppose you tell us about Dr. Allen B. Sharkey. Was he also dull and stupid?
Everybody knows what he was.
Suppose you tell us.
He was a sexual deviant. It's a matter of record.
Is it? You studied under Dr. Sharkey, didn't you?
It was a required course.
A year ago, February, you applied to Dr. Sharkey for a position as a teaching assistant in political science. You were turned down. Do you know why Dr. Sharkey refused to hire you?
I don't remember.
Your Honor, I have a deposition from Dr. Sharkey, who now resides in England. I ask that it be marked for identification as Plaintiff's Exhibit A.
So ordered.
Now, in his deposition, Dr. Sharkey gives that reason. Shall I read it to you?
In a world, only the movement
back and forth, and back and forth. Open yourself to it. Open your mind. That's right. Very good. Adam, what happened? What happened?
It was different this time. And there was a street. Fog.
What about the music?
At first, yes. Then it was gone. There was a man.
What was he like?
I can't remember.
All right. You're tired. We'll try again tomorrow. Adam, psychic energy is so strong that it can span not only distance, but time. I'm going to finish my notes. Why don't you just go home?
It's 12:30.
We'll try again tomorrow.
Good night, Professor.
Good night.